All right, good morning once again. Remember that we have concluded JavaScript as a language. So what we want to do now is to implement JavaScript through a framework or library called Bootstrap. I hope we are aware that we are starting a Bootstrap today. So those in the last class, right? That will be starting a Bootstrap. So we actually spent some time to understand JavaScript as a language. Now, the best platform to implement JavaScript is Bootstrap. So let's start with what is Bootstrap? Let's start with the definition of Bootstrap. What is Bootstrap? So Bootstrap is a free command open source front-end framework. Bootstrap is a free command open source front-end framework. So the keyword there is framework that helps you design responsive and mobile-first websites quickly. Underline that helps you design responsive and mobile-first. So the keywords you are to underline are responsive, mobile-first, responsive, mobile-first. Additionally, it provides ready-made HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It provides ready-made HTML, CSS, and JavaScript components. It provides ready-made HTML, CSS, and JavaScript components like buttons, navigation bars, forms, modals, and grids. Grids, that is GRIDS. All right. Now, from what I've explained, I believe we understand what Bootstrap is. Mobile first website quickly. Now, I want to explain it here. Let me break it down so that we understand it in a layman term. You see, we have spent some time understanding HTML, right? As a language, as one of the language for front-end development. We have also spent some time learning CSS and also what? JavaScript. Now, what we are saying is that we now want to, these same languages that we have spent time on, we want to implement them on a framework, on a different platform. And the reason is what I have to underline. First, what? That's mobile first, and what? Responsiveness. Now, there are some terms we need to understand. The word responsiveness means the adaptability. You can write it down. For a website to be responsive, what does that mean? Well, that is one of the main reasons why we are considering a Bootstrap, because we want our website to be responsive. So what is website responsiveness? Responsiveness of a website is the adaptability of a website to display across different devices, screen sizes, across different devices, what? Screen sizes. That is the meaning of responsiveness. So if you are building a website as a developer, you need to be conscious of what? It's what? Responsiveness. You need to find out whether the website is responsive. How many of us have once opened a website on laptop, everything is displaying well. By the time you open it on the phone, you see that things are scattered. That is because what? The developer did not prioritize what? Responsiveness. Am I communicating? Responsiveness of a website is quite different from interactivity. Are you with me? So this one has to do with the ability of your website to adjust to the size of what? Smaller screen devices and what? Bigger what? Screen devices. Hope that point is well understood. So why do we now need Bootstrap? Because we want to inherit those already made what? HTML components, CSS components, JavaScript what? Functions, where they have already added responsiveness. Now, the only way we try to implement responsiveness during the manual design was the use of what? Media query, right? That at media. So what we are saying is that if you are building your website on Bootstrap, or if you set up Bootstrap on your projects, it means that once you call H1, is already what? Is already responsive. You don't need to manually say H1 or maybe at media query, and then you start calling all those components one after the other. You can see how tedious it was the few ones we tried implementing, right? When I think there were some places where we implemented like the card, right? We added the responsiveness now where we're using at media, whatever. Now just imagine for every element or every container holding group of items, you have to call them one after the other and choose how the maximum width on different devices in the world, maybe Apple phone, Samsung, and mini computer, laptop. That is going to be very stressful to you as a developer. And you cannot even achieve it. That is just the truth. You cannot capture all the devices what? Responsiveness if you are using that manual media query. But Bootstrap has even the future devices that will be created. It has all their sizes. So that is one of the reason why the final project you are going to present, everything must be responsive. So what happened is that website that you have built before now, you will either go back and integrate Bootstrap on it so that it can be responsive, or you start a fresh one. Because what I know is that your final project must be what? Responsive. So what are the takeaway here? The takeaway here is that what? Bootstrap is a library. Write it down. Bootstrap is a library. When you refer to a platform as a library means collection of what? Functions stored in a place. Are you with me? So which means that if you are saying Bootstrap is a library of what? Can somebody respond? Library of HTML code, library of what? CSS, library of what? JavaScript. So we are not going to waste time here. In fact, it's supposed to be a day class. To shock you. It's supposed to be a day class. You know why? Why? Because one, we have spent not less than how many months? 3 months dealing with HTML tags, right? You do not expect me to come to Bootstrap and be explaining what? H2. All those tags are here, but the only thing is for me to focus on how you can class them with Bootstrap what? Classes. Sikena, I'm not going there to start teaching you HTML tags. I'm not going there to start teaching you CSS what? Properties. Because that is why it is called library. They have already compiled them. In fact, you can even copy everything and paste it in your project and edit 1 or 2 things. But the reason why you learn that manual, I always say it, these days now, you don't learn web development to the point that you want to offer service by coding manually. Everything has grown beyond that. That was those days. I can tell you anytime you see any developer today that is writing all his code from scratch, that developer is outdated. When I say outdated, that person is not current with what? Available what? AI tools. That person is behind. It's behind. But you know what? Why are we still spending time, 6 months, learning the manual? Because after the AI generates those codes for you, if you have not gone through this training, you cannot re-engineer them. You cannot even tamper with them. You cannot edit. You cannot customize those codes to fit what you want. And you will not understand the terminologies to even use to ask the AI questions. I don't know if anybody's following me. No. If, for example, now, I don't want to come for this kind of training. I just want to use AI. The question is that if I open ChatGPT now, do you know what is called navigation bar? Probably before you come here, do you know what is called navigation bar? No. The answer is no. So how will you know what to ask? But today now, I can go to ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, I want to build, the way I am saying it now, I want to build e-commerce website, develop navigation bar, a responsive navigation bar using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Bam. Before you see the next few seconds, everything is ready. You copy it, take it to your project, and what? Implement, or how do I put it? Substitute your right what? Link directory. Because ChatGPT will give you hash in the place of the href without knowing the page you want to target. But you are the one that knows that, okay, this href in anchor tag, it means to define what? The destination. How did you know that? From this class. So for the fact that you leverage on AI does not mean that you are not an expert. In fact, you are the most expert person. That's just the truth. So Bootstrap is a library. So we are not going to start writing HTML from scratch. We will just get the template, then twist it. And in fact, as you are writing the HTML, the CSS is already what? Applying automatically once you use Bootstrap class name. Now, let me take us to this. It's something that we have been learning. Remember that we learned CSS what? Selector, or HTML selector in CSS, right? When we're learning external CSS and internal CSS. The only place where we did not talk about selector is when we're applying what? Inline. Because then we're writing the CSS directly in what? The elements. But when we're dealing with internal, where we open a tag called style in the head, we were still referencing the HTML elements, right? Either by their what? Tag name, or by what? Class name, or by what? ID. So this is just the logic. What you should go and learn, like one time, one student asked me that, sir, what exactly I should focus on when learning Bootstrap? Go and learn what? The Bootstrap what? Those same elements that you have learned how to design with HTML. For example, now, in HTML, you know how to use H1, right? You go and research in Bootstrap. If I use H1, what is the Bootstrap class name for H1? in order to what? To automatically what? Draw the CSS attached to it. So if I create H1 in Bootstrap and I attach Bootstrap class name, now from your manual learning, you know that the class name is what you use in attaching what? The CSS to it now. Is it not? So once you align your class name with Bootstrap class name, that element will automatically what? Be styled. That is what we are saying. So why should I waste time? But I'm still going to spend 3 days. The reason is that I will go a little bit manual so that you can understand it. So the rest, you now keep exploring. So let's finalize it. In simple terms, what is Bootstrap? Let's summarize this in a way that if they waking up from sleep, 12 a.m., you can say something about it. In simple terms, right? Bootstrap is like a toolkit that gives you building blocks to create beautiful websites faster and easier. In simple terms, Bootstrap is like a toolkit that gives you building blocks to create beautiful websites faster and what? Easier. Faster and easier. So what it means is that what? Just give me the HTML element. Don't bother yourself with the CSS. I'll take care of the CSS. That's what you're saying. So you are not, for example, if you create like a, so for example, manual aspects. If I want to create heading, I'll just type what? H2, right? And say, okay, welcome to web training. I have to come here and do what? Class it, right? Right? Now, you are the one that normally specify what or determine the class name yourself now, right? But now that you are building your website on Bootstrap, you no longer have that privilege of choosing your own class name. You are bound to use what? Bootstrap what? Class name, so that you can inherit this program what? CSS. Are you following? Yes, that is the only thing you should go and focus on learning. All those HTML elements, form, div, go and understand Bootstrap or class name for each of them. So that once you create it like this, once you put the class name, let's say if Bootstrap class name is maybe body, like this. Once I type it, I don't need to go to CSS again. As soon as I apply this name, it automatically what? Meanwhile, Bootstrap will have attached CSS properties, media query to this what? Button class. So as soon as I specify it, it inherits what? The media query program. It inherits the color program. It inherits the size program by Bootstrap. So Bootstrap have already written the CSS on my behalf. What Bootstrap wants me to do is that once I create any HTML element, I should use the class name that he used to create what? Those CSS. That is all. That is why it's faster. Meanwhile, the manual one, after classing, you now go and create what? Your CSS file. You now start declaring what? The CSS properties. But what about, sir, if by the time I use the class and the Bootstrap is not giving me the color I want, can I customize it? The answer is capital letter what? Yes. That is where you now bring in your manual knowledge. That is the reason why no developer should train you on Bootstrap when you have not been trained on what? HTML, CSS, and what? JavaScript. It's an error. Because what about if you are not okay with the Bootstrap standard? Where will you have the skill to be able to what? To manipulate your own color when you don't know how to code manually? All right. So I believe with what I've explained, we now understand. Let's quickly highlight some of the advantages of using Bootstrap. All right. So let's quickly look at some of the advantages. Some of the advantages. Some of the advantages of using Bootstrap. Number one, responsive design automatically. Number one, responsive design. Bootstrap automatically adjusts layout for phones, tablets, and desktop using grid system. That will probably be our next class. Using what? Grid system. I say what? Responsive design. That is, Bootstrap automatically adjusts layout for phones, tablets, and desktop using its grid system, which I said we are going to deal with in the next class, understanding Bootstrap grid system. Number two advantage of using Bootstrap is what? It saves time. That is what? Saves time. Why? Because Bootstrap has pre-built style and components. Why? Because Bootstrap has pre-built style and components, which helps you design pages much faster. Let's look at the next advantage is customizable. That is, you can easily modify Bootstrap default styles with custom CSS. So you have the privilege, like I was saying before, if, for example, it gives you a particular color and you are not okay with it, you can do what? You can update it. So it's not that fixed. You can easily modify Bootstrap default styles with custom CSS. The next advantage is cross-browser compatible or compatibility. Cross-browser compatibility. Cross-browser compatibility, which means that it works smoothly on all modern browsers. It works smoothly on all modern what? Browsers. Even that your media query that you are specifying, that maximum width, this, it might not work in some browsers. That is why it's better to work with what? The Bootstrap version. So now what we are going to cover today after this explanation is for us to look at how to install it. How do we integrate it in our projects? If I want to start building a website for a client, how do I set up Bootstrap? How do I specify that, okay, this website, I am building it with what? Bootstrap. So that takes us to write Bootstrap installation/setup. Next topic, Bootstrap installation/setup. Right. There are several methods on how to install Bootstrap in your projects. There are several methods on how to install Bootstrap in your projects. And what are the most used methods? Number one, offline installation of Bootstrap. Offline. The first method is what? Offline installation. The second method is CDN. CDN means Content Delivery Network. Content Delivery Network, which can also be translated as what? remote or online or server installation. So these two methods are the most used method. Now, we are going to take them one after the other. Like I said, I just want to teach us how to what? To install Bootstrap using these two methods, and then we stop there. So the next class, we'll now start learning what? Bootstrap what? Grid system. So at the end of the day, we should be able to know how to use Bootstrap to build JavaScript what? Apps, use it to create all those forms and the rest that will be responsive automatically. Yes? You want to view the yes. No, manually you are typing HTML, though you can copy it there. But the only thing you are not typing is the CSS and the JavaScript. You are not writing the function again. Once you use the ID, JavaScript will be using ID. CSS will be using class. So once you use the ID, then it automatically calls the what? The design function. Now, let's proceed. So I'm going to start with the offline installation. Step on offline Bootstrap installation. But let's start by knowing what is the offline installation. Right. Offline installation is the process of downloading and installing Bootstrap locally within your project. Is the process of downloading and installing the Bootstrap locally in your project. So which means that the whole properties, the whole component, you are downloading them and adding them to your website what? Project folder. So the limitation you will face with this option is that I only advise students to use this option when you are still developing so that you can save your data what? Consumption. Because this one does not require internet. You only need internet for the first time to what? To download it and what? Integrate it. Subsequently, you don't need internet. Am I communicating? You don't need internet. But the implication is that if there is any global updates, if by tomorrow now Bootstrap wake up and say, oh, this particular class, we are adding another function to it, that addition will not affect the website that was built with what? Offline what? Bootstrap installation. So you only have the update to that day you downloaded it. Any other update after that day that you don't have it. So that's why I said you should only engage this when you are still developing. Once you want to host it, put the website on the internet, you redirect it to what? To the CDN, that content delivery what? Network, which means that you are synchronizing the CSS directly from their server to your own website. So once any update takes place in their own server, all the websites that have the CDN link automatically what? Update. This is what happens when you see, no matter how you learn these particular websites that you are learning, you will not be able to build all those what? Broker websites. You know why? Because those broker websites, they are API based. Once dollar rate changes globally, your website updates what? Automatically. If you are using this one now, it means that if you program dollar rate today 1,005, when dollar rate move to, you now come back, you bring that file and be editing. No, that is why you see that we use what we call scripts for those broker websites. We don't use this one because those scripts, they have already comes with what? Web 3.0. That is what? The crypto that you are hearing, the Web 3.0. All those broker sites, they are built based on what? Web 3.0. This one that you are learning is Web 2.0, which is the manual. that is recommended for learning. These ones, you cannot manufacture those API. You just have to buy the scripts and integrate it. So there are some websites that are almost all their function, API, everything will work automatically from what? A particular server. And you are not the owner of the server. You must pay before you can access a link to access things from that server. So let's get that right. So the only thing this one will help you to do is that when somebody gives you such scripts, you will now be able to implement it. So what you will now learn then is what? Script implementation, not web development. Did you get that? You learn what? Script what? Implementation, not web development. It's a different skill entirely that combine this one and how to integrate what? Those API. Now, so since I said the offline require us downloading it, then we have to go to the Bootstrap what? Website. So your first step is open a browser. Please, I'm starting with the steps on what? The offline what? Installation. One that requires you downloading the entire Bootstrap and store it in your website projects. So how do you download it? Just open a browser, like I mentioned before. Just type what? Bootstrap. Just type Bootstrap. That will bring you here. Now we have them in different versions. We have Bootstrap 5.0, 5.1. Now the only difference is the updation of what? The classes. That is why sometimes you are using a particular class name and it's not giving you what you wanted because they have modified it. So probably your Bootstrap that we installed does not tally with the one that uses what? That particular what? Class. So that will not lead to you what? Upgrading. So if you want to go with the version, maybe you have a particular version in mind, you can just type it direct at what? Bootstrap what? 5 or Bootstrap 5.1. So now, once you have it like this, this is the website, www.getbootstrap.com. So once you click on it, to now take us to the Bootstrap website. You see, one beautiful thing about this is that it comes with a whole lot of documentation. What is documentation? Any library you are working with comes with what? Documentation. Because the library developer knew that you need to verify certain things. So every function has its own what? Documentation. That is why this place you can come here and learn on your own once somebody have put you through for the first time like this. Because if you want to use, for example, now, you want to use any element. If I go to component, now look at this. As I open up component now, you can see what? Card. Remember, we talked about card in this class now. So that card that we are using is a Bootstrap what? Language borrowed in manual designing. In manual, I will have used the word columns, not card. So I borrowed that card from what? Bootstrap, because I know we are coming to Bootstrap. So if I click here now, what happened? Can you see? Is it not the card code that you wrote? So all you need is just to take, not stealing, no, you are taking. You are not stealing, no, you are taking. Maybe you pay to learn now. You are not stealing. You take it like this, go to your, you just come here like this and paste. Now, this is where, if you don't come here, if they offer you this code, do you know what to do here? I'm asking you, look at this. Every one of you know what to do here, right? You know that what? That Bootstrap, I'm not giving you your image, right? You know that you are supposed to do what? Remove these 3 dots, right? And do what? Slash. Call your. Where did you learn this? The manual. So you can see that is why I said manual is not in vain. It's not time wasted at all. Now, let's go back there. Let's go back there.
Now, look at the documentation before I even got to the code that has generated for me to carry. It took time to explain it. A card is a what? So when you see some of our teachers, this is where we'll come and take the video. Then when we are training you in the manual, we blow the grammar. I just sell one of my secrets to you now. Every teacher must have secrets where he's learning something that I want to teach the students. So if we are not in Bootstrap and I want to teach you card, I will come here and take this definition, and then I must have carried this code, and then I'll be typing them manually over there. You will not know that. This guy is laughing. I don't know if because I know some of us will want to teach tomorrow. And in as much, and when I was replicating this, I was able to explain each one. Why? Because I'm an expert. I know it. It's just that I don't want to waste my time writing it. But once a platform or AI have written the code, I can explain it. Unlike somebody who is not an expert, cannot explain. We just be saying, just follow me as I'm writing. Just follow me as I'm writing. Just follow me. Anything I write, just write it like that. That's what the person will be telling you. Not telling you that this is a div with a class name this. Good. So cards are built with what? With as little what? Markup. And style as what? Now look at the class Bootstrap use, card. So this card is what offers what? The CSS that has been written. So once you create a div and you give it class card, and you have already set up Bootstrap, it automatically what? Inherit all the CSS, the query, what is it called? The responsiveness, CSS, the width, the display, all those things, those display flares, whatever, everything will be there automatically. Your own is just to make sure that you use this same class. If you use class card 2 now, that means you will not be able to get it. So that is just for us to know that every element, if you come to form now, you see what? If I click on form here now, see that it has created what? Form, simple form for me. And you can see the class name. So my work is to know what is this MB-what? 3 in Bootstrap. That is all. Now let's go to the installation. Now we want to download it, right? Because it is offline. What we are saying is that the whole of this previewed CSS code, HTML code, JS code, we want to what? Locally store it so that we'll not be coming here. And one of the advantage of me, I will tell you as a student, you should learn with what? The offline. You know why? Because the offline gives you a window to see those CSS that JavaScript Bootstrap have written on your behalf, so that you can now learn more what? CSS properties. I don't know if you get that logic. There are some of us that when we want to learn new CSS property, I come to Bootstrap. I will install it locally and then open those code, because those code contain all the properties and what Bootstrap achieved with each of them. So from there, I will now be able to increase my what? CSS property library. So click on download. Please go back to your notes. Let's click on get started. Click on get started and select what? Download. Where did you start before? Open a browser and what? Search for what? Bootstrap 5.0. Right? You know, that will bring us to what? Get started page. So from here, you click on download. Now, as soon as you click on download, let's read through. You must learn to read the documentation. Download Bootstrap to get what? Compiled what? CSS and what? JavaScript, source code, or include it. So this is the reason why I prefer what? If you are installing the other method, which is what? The remote or CDN, you don't have access to what? To the source code. Is anybody following me? You don't have access to what? Source code. You only see those elements transforming without knowing. You can't see what is causing that word transformation. So now that I've understood what it means, Look at it here, compile CSS and JavaScript. Then just click on this, download. If you click here, you have what? Download what? Source code. But let's select this one. Once you click, it will start your download. It will download it as a zip file. So make sure that you are following me. So once the download is completed, of course, your next step, go to your download folder. Hope you know where your download item goes to, right? Now, once you open your download folder, then copy it to your project folder, that folder that you call into your Visual Studio Code, right? You copy the whole of that, and then let's locate that particular folder. I think I created it in what? Document, right? With NIT Web. So you bring it and paste it here. That is the first step. Are you following? Now, the next step, I hope you are writing. What is the first step? Visit what? The website, right? Then click on what? Get started, right? Under it, pick what? Download. Then it will download as a zip file. Then go to your download folder, copy the zip file to your project folder. That is where I am now. To your project folder. Now, since it's a zip file, you have to unzip it. How many of us know how to unzip file? You must know how to do that. Now, how do I unzip? Right click on the zip file and select Extract All. Right click on the zip file and select what? Extract All. Why my own is having this color? Because I have a decryptive program called what? WinRAR. If you don't have WinRAR, it will show you this color, your own. So every window has what? Zip, that is a zip what? Program. Now, let's continue. Now, the first thing I will ensure that I do is to make sure that what? I am in this same directory. So I'll click on what? Extract. So once you click, it will now give you an extracted folder in that same place. Good. Now, this particular folder, this is the one you need to work with. So you can delete this one. You don't need this one any longer because you have what? Extracted it. And then why did I have to extract it? Because I want to see the CSS compiled file different from what? JavaScript. So I will now double click here to see them. Double click here, you see two of them. You can now see what? CSS, just like the way we created it before now, right? So you now take two of them, highlight, copy them, then go back to your directory. Here is the directory. Go back to the directory. Let me copy. Let me locate the file again. Document. This. I'm in the folder now. Paste it here. Good. Now, you don't need this one again. You delete that one. Because you have to separate them. Both of them must not be in one folder before in the project what? Folder. Are you following? Now, let me show you now. If I want to see those code that CSS have written, if you click here, you see them. So which one carried the main CSS code? The one that ends with what? CSS. Bootstrap.what? CSS. Can you find any code like that? I think it should be this one. Can you find anyone that ends with yeah, this one? Don't worry, I will show you. Let me call it in the. You've seen a. The CSS, have you? Where is it here? One? No. Just the CSS, not map. Have you found it like that? Just the CSS. Yeah, Bootstrap.css. Good. That is the main file, but don't worry, we will get it. Probably is this one. It should be this one. So if I open it now, let me see. it will open with Visual Studio Code, but just hold on because we are still going to view it over there. So that is for that. Now I can remove this interface. Now, how do I now integrate it? You can see that they are not here now. Good. They are not here. So from here, you can now exploit them. So you have the JavaScript code written also, the one that ends with what? JavaScript. So if you click here, I want to see the file, you can see a bunch of functions that you will like. So anything, any web app you want to apply is already here. It's just for you to know how to call it out. The functions have been pre-written for you. All right, so don't let that scare you. Now, let's proceed. Now, the next thing I'm going to do now is to set it up. What we just completed now is what? Downloading it, right? Now you have to set it up. Please pay attention. To set it up, what are the steps to set it up? So just copying it here does not mean that automatically, if you write any HTML element, will be what? Styled automatically. No. You have to what? Link this file, as usual, to the head. It's just like our internal CSS method, right? Where we use what? Link. You should remember. Link, then slash, then I'm contacting what? This now. And then which one am I connecting? If you can find it, the one that ends with what? The CSS. Good, this is it. That is the one that have all the CSS. So now I will now confirm every page where you want to speak Bootstrap class name to inherit Bootstrap what? CSS. You must add what? This. So after this, you need to also connect what? The JavaScript. And where do you connect JavaScript? Like I told you, it should always be what? Before the closing what? So I will use scripts. Which of the scripts? The one with what? Source, right? Then connect your JavaScript. Then choose the one that ends with what? JavaScript or JavaScript what? Bundle.js. So with this now, on this particular file, Bootstrap JavaScript and Bootstrap CSS are active, but you need to confirm. You need to confirm. Now, let me speak some basic CSS class name and see whether the element will be styled automatically without me customizing my CSS. So let me comment this out first. Just pay attention. Now, let's say no CSS, no Bootstrap CSS, right? Now, if I come here and do something like this, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. So if I come here and do something like this, if I create a button tag, let's say button, and then I give it what? Class. Now, the class I want to use now must be Bootstrap what? Class name, because I want to access Bootstrap what? CSS. So Bootstrap class name has base class. You are not paying attention, no. Has what? Base class. The base class is the one that carries the responsiveness, the media query, at media query before other subclasses. So the base class for this is what? BTN. BTN. BTN space. Then I will now say what? BTN. BTN. BTN hyphen sources. So now let me write a text here. Let's say click me. So let's check the front end without the Bootstrap link. Let's see how it's going to show. So that by the time I bring back this line that I commented out, you will now see the CSS contribution directly from Bootstrap. Did you see it now? Is this style? No. Now, if I come here now and bring back this particular line that I commented out, Let's go back there. What did you notice now? Are you the one that have you gone to CSS and say background color red, sorry, blue, text color white? So what happened? Bootstrap have styled it for you. And this one is what? Responsive. So everybody achieved this first. 5%. So we did how to install WordPress locally. Sorry, Bootstrap. All right, so now let's look at the online, so I will close from there. Now, what we did was to just confirm it. So even as you wrote this particular Bootstrap class name and does not style it, you know that this particular link and the content you downloaded are not valid. Now, what it means is that this sources is a color, right? So if I remove it and put danger, what color do you think it will bring? Red. Let's try it. That is red now. So if I remove this and put primary, what color would that one be? Because primary is a color. Primary. Now, if I remove it and put secondary, what color would that one be? Let's see who will get it. So if you put warning, info, info is a color. Hey, they are really looking at it from all these expo generation. Let's see them. All right, so now let's also look at the CDN installation, right? Steps on how to install Bootstrap using CDN. What did I say is CDN again? Content what? Delivery network. Content delivery network. So all you need to do, right, for CDN installation of Bootstrap, you only need to add the CDN link for CSS and JavaScript in the head section of your HTML document. That is all. You are not downloading that file. Write it so that we can look at the particle together. I said you only need to add the CDN link for CSS and JavaScript to the head section of your HTML document. Look at this here. You just have to add it here. So let me remove this for now. And remember that this one does not require downloading the what? Downloading and unzipping. The next thing to note that is that when using CDN, right? When using CDN, the computer must be connected to the internet each time you want to see the effects. That is why it is called the CDN method. Are we together? So now let's look at the step. The step, go back to the Bootstrap website. Go back to the Bootstrap website. You go back to the Bootstrap website. Now, once you come back to the website, this is the logic I use because there is a sample file where they have added all this. So I will just take that file and start modifying. For example, now if I come to introduction now, introduction, you will see this example file. They have already added that link. Look at it here. It's already added. Then if you go down, you see that what they have also added what? The one for what? JavaScript. So if I were to be you, what you do, this is one option, or you can choose another option. You will just take that example. Where is it? This still down. This one, right? So you just copy it. Then you open your HTML file. Let's say you have not, remember what you copy now contain this one that you have already activated. So you clear it. You paste everything at once. So in other words, this one has already given you what? The HTML file structure together with what? The CSS what? Bootstrap link. So what I will do now is for me to delete everything I have within the body except the JavaScripts. There's one they say optional what? Option 2. That is, it's already in comment, which means that what? You may not need it. So, but this one is very important. You have it. So I can remove all this. So my file will start like this. This is one option. We'll delete this. My file will start like this. So I will just start creating. Let's confirm it again. Now, this time around, let's say I want to create what? A div. I will just type what? Div container. So container is a Bootstrap what? Class name for container element. So if I press this now, so if I put something like, let's say, in fact, let me just add content, welcome, so that we can see it. So if I go back to the front end now, I think it should be here. Hope that is the page that I'm refreshing. So you can see it now. So what happened here? You can see that this margin was created. Ordinarily, this text shouldn't give us what? This space. That means what? One, which means that the Bootstrap is communicating. Now, if I change the class from container to what? Container-fluid. Watch what will happen if I go back. Can you see that what? That margin space has removed. So which also means that what? Bootstrap is what? Communicating using the CDN. But if you don't want to copy an example like this, what you will have done is to, if you go back to the beginning, you will see this is the CSS. Let me just go to the side. You will see the both link. Where did I click the other time? Download, Ravi. You will see the both link. Look at them here. This is for what? Let me check it. Yeah, one is for CSS. This one is for CSS. While this one is for what? JavaScript. So you copy that one after the other. You copy this one. You go back to your document. You go to the head section. You paste it. You go and take the other one. You come before the what? The body. You paste it. Instead of me taking that example where they have already what? Fished the links. Exactly. So this is where we stop. So in our next class, we are going to start with what? Bootstrap what? Grid system. So we're going to look at how Bootstrap normally calculates the breaking point for each devices. For smaller devices, extra large, large, and all of that. So that class is going to be one of the main class that you need. Make sure you don't miss it, please. Yeah, thank you.